it's Blackwing, back with another video for you guys, and I'm doing another top 10 video for you guys. And I tend to enjoy these top 10s. It's very enjoyable. It gets me to express my opinion on things, and it's so much fun to do. And plus, I get to you guys get to share your thoughts with me in the comments. So this next top 10 we're gonna be doing me, but I'll just say we for example. It's going to be top 10 X-Men. Now, I grew up with the X-Men from the old school TV show from the 90s, and it was a really good show. And then from there, I watched a whole lot of episodes of X-Men Evolution, which pretty much that was my favorite X-Men TV show growing up because it was so good and it was so amazing. And Wolverine and X-Men was pretty decent as well. I wish it could have lasted longer. Like, the show really could have lasted a bit longer, but with shows like that, they only last for 26 episodes, 13 or 26 episodes the most. But business is business. So let's get on with this list, and like all things, we're starting with number 10. And guys, don't be sad if your favorite mutant doesn't appear on the list or doesn't make the #1 spot. I'm just telling you, this is my top 10 list. You guys can tell me who your favorite mutants are in the comments. Alright, so let's begin. So starting off with number 10 is Beast. Now, Beast is a really cool character. I mean, for those who he's one of the founding members of the X-Men, because when in the first X-Men issue, which released in 1963, the founding members were Cyclops, Jean. Well, her name was called Marvel Girl, so Jean Grey was just pretty much her regular name, but I prefer just calling her Jean. So yeah, Cyclops, Jean, Angel, Iceman, and Beast. So, and before Beast didn't have he didn't have the blue fur. He was just a guy with big hands and big feet. That's all he was. And then his mutation process evolved throughout the years, and that's how he become the super cool savage Beast with the blue skin and everything. And he's been a really good member of the X-Men. I know most of you guys don't notice. Beast was also a member of the Avengers. I didn't know that until I saw IGN's videos of every Avenger ever. I didn't even know Beast was part of the Avengers. So that's pretty cool to see, because pretty much the biggest Marvel teams out there are the Avengers and the X-Men. So it's good to see that they switch members from time to time. So yeah, Beast, number 10. Number 9, I know some people are gonna really hate me for this. Cyclops. Now, I don't mean to have Cyclops very low at the bottom. I know he's the leader. He's the main leader of the team. His power, he has that super cool optic blast vision that he has. And it's just Cyclops is a cool mutant. It's just his character, it tends to fall off a few times because sometimes he lets his emotions get the best of him, especially with Jean. If Jean's involved, he will never let go. Like, he will constantly complain, like, Jean's gone, like, don't you say that. Like, he has so much feelings for Jean. Like, Cyclops and Jean's love history has been going on throughout years and years and years of comic book history, and that's understandable. But for right now, it's good that I have Cyclops as number 9. So if you guys don't like that, you're gonna have to deal with it. This is my top 10 list. So number 8 is Shadowcat. I first got introduced to Shadowcat in X-Men Evolution. I mean, she has a super cool power to, walk through walls and everything. What I didn't know was how she had a pet dragon named Lockheed. I had no idea that she had a pet dragon. So that's very interesting to know. I do love her relationship with Iceman, and they make a really good couple because, well, she had a relationship with Iceman, but she really has a relationship with Colossus. And Colossus is a big dude, especially with that Russian accent and everything. So yeah, Shadowcat deserves. I guess Kitty Pryde deserves the number 8 spot. All right, number 7 is Psylocke. I had to put Psylocke on this list because ever since I saw the trailers for X-Men Apocalypse and everything, we finally see that Psylocke is actually getting full potential in the X-Men films. Sure, she had her stuff in TV shows and in the comic books, but Psylocke, she's she's a great martial artist. She has that side blade, and she's a telepath. With she most people don't know she has telekinesis. The only thing I knew about her was that the psionic blade that she carries or makes. But she's a really, really dope character, and I'm so looking forward to seeing Olivia Munn's portrayal of her in X-Men Apocalypse. And Psylocke is a really, really dope X-Men character. So number 6 is Storm. Now, what is there to say about Storm? I mean, come on. She was married to Black Panther. And here's the thing, I didn't know Storm and Black Panther were a couple until I watched that animated Avengers movie called Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow, where it showed it's a story of how the Avengers, they had kids. Well, each of the Avengers had a couple with the other one, and they had kids. And I didn't even know Black Panther was married to Storm, so I guess that explained why Black Panther's son has the whole lightning powers and everything. But Storm is a really, really cool character. She can manipulate the weather. Any forgive me. She's just an amazing character, and plus her potential is, most people don't expect her to be like one of the strongest. I consider her one of the strongest. I mean, come on, the woman could probably create a huge hurricane if she wanted to, and trust me, I know she will. But most she's most famous for doing her she's called Storm for a reason, her lightning strikes and everything. So that's what she's most famous for, which I love. That's like one of my favorite attacks that she always does. So Storm, number 6. Now number 5, most people are going to be surprised when I say this character's name. Number 5 is Havok, who most of you guys don't know. Havok is Cyclops' younger brother. And the first time I was introduced to Havok was in X-Men First Class, because his power was pretty much amazing. And when I first played as him in Lego Marvel Superheroes, his powers were so cool. I just automatically fell in love with it. Fell in love with his character, and he immediately, just right there, he became one of my favorite X-Men characters. Sure, I think he has worked with the Brotherhood. I think, or maybe that's only in the Ultimate X-Men, if I'm right. But Havok, he's a dope character, especially being related to Cyclops and how they were separated when they were young. They reunited with each other back when they were older. And Havok, he was also part of the Avengers. So Havok's a dope, really dope character. So that's number 5. Number 4 is Iceman. I love Iceman. Now, I was first introduced to Iceman in that old Spider-Man TV show called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And I didn't know Iceman was an X-Men character, and neither I didn't know Firestar was a character. But here's something you guys didn't know. The first time Firestar has ever appeared in anything like media-worthy, well, she was like one of those characters, comic book characters, that adapted from TV shows into comic books. So Firestar first appeared in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and from there making her way into comic books. So she's like a really cool character. But Iceman, he is, I love ice powers, for Pete's sake. Cause especially when he was going up against Pyro in Last Stand, and Pyro was like pushing him to the limit, and just when you think Iceman was gonna lose, Pyro was like, "You should have stayed in school, Bobby." And then Iceman just went full on, just ice form and everything. You shouldn't have left. So he's such a super cool character. What I don't like though is how his past version in the all new X-Men, I don't like how his younger self is gay. I really don't like it. I don't. So, But I prefer, you know, modern regular Iceman, the one who's not gay. Super cool, no pun intended. Just, he's awesome. Now, number 3, Gambit. Gambit is so dope, okay? I first watched him in the X-Men TV show in the 90s. His power is so anything he touches, pretty much his power is kinetic energy. Anything he touches gains like kinetic force. So why that explains the whole, you know, explosive cards and everything. But that's what I love about him is that he uses his cards as weapons, especially with the bow staff. So that he has 2 weapons in one. So every time I look at Gambit, it makes me feel like, man, I wish I had his powers and everything. But I feel like I'm so looking forward to that Gambit movie that Channing Tatum is supposed to be Gambit in. The film is being delayed, which apparently is a sad thing, but I'm still looking forward to the movie. And Gambit, I didn't like Gambit in X-Men Evolution and how he was evil and everything. I think he started off being a good guy when he met Rogue, because him and Rogue had like a relationship for like a long time. So but Gambit, he's a really dope character, and I love his Cajun accent. So don't mess with old Gambit, you know what I'm saying? That was my Gambit attempt. All right, number 2. I wanted this character to be my number 1, but he's my number 2. Wolverine. I love Wolverine. All right, he's pretty much a lot of people's favorite X-Men character, for Pete's sake. Hugh Jackman does a phenomenal job. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Okay, so it's just, I know he's dead in the comics, but hopefully Marvel will find a way to bring him back, because everyone knows in comic books not every character stays dead. But currently we know X-23 is the current Wolverine. But hopefully, I know Logan will, you know, sometime he will come back. But of course, we still have that other version of Wolverine, Old Man Logan. I don't know much about Old Man Logan, but he's like supposed to be an older version of Wolverine. But hey, Wolverine, he's been a dope character ever since his first appearance in the comics. Ever since he's led the X-Men multiple times, he always likes to prove he's a better X-Men leader than Cyclops, which I believe so he is. Why do you think in Wolverine and the X-Men, Cyclops was pushed to the side and Wolverine was the leader of the show? I know, hence the name, the show said Wolverine and the X-Men, but I still say Wolverine is a way better leader than Cyclops. Alright, so before I say my number 1, let's let me say some honorable mentions. So my first honorable mention is Angel. Angel is a really cool character, especially being a founding member of the X-Men, and his Archangel form is amazing. Of course, he's also he's going to be one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse, and plus, especially in his Archangel form, his wings are metallic. So if you're going up a fight against Angel, you better run. So next honorable mention, Jubilee. Now, I don't want to say Jubilee is a worthless character. I mean, her powers are pretty much making fireworks and everything. So she's not as worthless, but I mean, come on, she's getting her first portrayal in X-Men Apocalypse, so that's gonna be exciting. Next honorable mention is Jean Grey. Now, I didn't want to put Jean on the list for a certain reason. It's because her character has been used so many times. She's died, come back. It's because of the whole power with the Phoenix, and the whole Phoenix Force thing, it just irritates me. It's because you create a force that's so overpowering that it can't be killed. That's the thing that annoys me. So I didn't want to put Jean on the list. Next honorable mention is Colossus. He's a really cool character. He was awesome in Deadpool because we got to see him with this is the actual Colossus that we expected to see. The whole Russian accent, the whole caretaking Colossus. And plus he's a really cool character. I wanted to put him on the top 10, but this list was a hard list to make. Next, Warpath. I was first introduced to Warpath in X-Men Days of Future Past, and I read some X-Force comics, and he is a really dope character and a super cool fighter, if I might add. Next honorable mention is Magneto. Now, I bet you guys are wondering, wait, Magneto was a member of the X-Men? Yes, he was. I know in X-Men First Class, he's sort of like he's not really what you consider a team player, but Magneto is, he's pretty much the best X-Men villain there is. He wants the world to be controlled for mutant kind, and come on, he's a really cool character, and plus he puts up with every single member, especially Cyclops and Wolverine. Basically those two, and Jean. Next is Banshee. Banshee, oh my gosh. His powers are amazing. Pretty much his sonic scream, and that's what pretty much makes him fly and everything. But Banshee is a dope character. I loved him in X-Men First Class. I wish I could see him again in X-Men Apocalypse, but sadly his character got killed off in Days of Future Past. But Banshee, come on, he's a dope character. Next honorable mention, X-23. Now, the female version of Wolverine, she first appeared in X-Men Evolution, a character who adapted from a TV show into the comics. A lot of you guys probably didn't know that, but she's pretty much a female Wolverine with 2 claws on each hand, and of course right now she's the current Wolverine. But she's a really dope character, and I think she pretty much looks up to Wolverine, you know, for him being a clone of she being a clone of him. So that's another thing. Next honorable mention is Rogue. Rogue isn't really my favorite X-Men, but she deserves the honorable mention because she can absorb the power of any mutant or borrow power of any superhero, if I might say, because she borrowed Miss Marvel's powers earlier in her career, and plus she's Mystique's adoptive daughter, if I'm right. Her origin is really hard to understand, so don't quote me on that. And the last honorable mention is Polaris, who is Magneto's second daughter. I almost said third, but second daughter. She has magnetic powers just like Magneto. She's a member of the X-Men, and she's also married to Cyclops' brother, Havok. And I still say Polaris is a really cool character. Besides her relationship with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Polaris is a really dope character, and she definitely deserves an honorable mention. I would so love to see her in a movie one day. So my my number 1 X-Men character is Nightcrawler. Now, I first got introduced to Nightcrawler in X-Men Evolution, and immediately I fell in love with his character. I know pretty much his power is teleportation. Every time you see him, and every time when you guys read an X-Men comic, you see that sound effect, that BAMF sound effect, and he is so amazing. And Mystique is his mother, so that's another thing. I don't know if they're gonna portray that in X-Men Apocalypse, but hey, Nightcrawler is one of those X-Men characters that deserve a lot more love, of course, not in comics, but in other media, period. Because he only had one film appearance in X2, which was a beautiful film, by the way. He should have been in Days of Future Past, but the director said he didn't want to put too many mutants in the film, which is understandable. But Nightcrawler, my number 1 favorite mutant, loved him ever since X-Men Evolution, and that's what I had to say. So that's the end of the list, guys. I know this video was dragged on. I know I put every detail into everything, but that's how I roll. So in the comment section below, tell me who are your top 10 favorite X-Men characters. I mean X-Men members. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until then, I am Vengeance. I am Darkness. I am Blackwing. Stay golden.